Hi, my name is Kathy Gray. I'm going to be your Math 105 online instructor. We're going to do our first online lesson today. We're going to start with section point 1.4. You did 1.2 and 1.3 in class, so we're going to be on page 5 of your course packet. So before you start the online lesson, you need to go out and purchase a course packet, and we're going to go ahead and start on page 5. Section 1.4 deals with voluntary response samples, and it also goes over how to change percentages to proportions. So we'll start with the definition of a voluntary response sample. Voluntary response sample is one in which the people participating actually choose to participate. And so mail-in survey or internet survey where people are given a choice, most people probably won't participate, but some people do. So a voluntary response sample is one in which the respondents themselves choose to participate. And so 2 examples. One would be an internet survey or email survey where you're given a link. We did that one like that already in class. And then mail-in poll would be another one. And the problem with doing a voluntary response sample, although they're pretty easy and you can increase your number of participants by a lot, they tend to be biased because people that feel very strongly about an issue are the ones that are going to respond. So if I had a survey about the death penalty, only people that feel very strongly are likely to respond. So only people who feel strongly about the issue tend to respond, which produces biased results. For instance, if you feel strongly in support of the death penalty, those people are more likely to respond, so the percent that believe in the death penalty might be too high compared to what the true percentage is. All right, and so now we're going to talk a little bit about percentages and proportions. These calculations are fairly easy, but they're important in this class, so we're just going to go over it. When we change a percent to proportion, we just move the decimal place over by 2 points to the left. If we had a proportion and we wanted to change it to percent, we move the decimal over 2 places to the right. So for the first example, we want to find 6% of 1,200. And so what I first want to do is I want to move the decimal over 2 places for the 6%. So I want to change this into proportion first. So I would just change this into 0.06. And then to get 6% of 1,200, I would multiply times 1,200. Oops. And so 6% of 1,200 then is 72. Okay, turning a fraction to a percent, I just make that a proportion. If I can do it in my head, fine, or I can use the calculator. This one's pretty easy to do in the head. So I have 3/4. I know that's equal to 0.75. I can get that on my calculator. And I want to make that into percent, so I just move the decimal over 2 spots to the right. And so 0.75 is equivalent to 75%. All right, and then to make a percent to decimal, I just move the decimal over 2 spots. So 85%, I would just move the decimal over to 0.85. So 0.85 would be 85%. Okay, well that's the end of that section. There's usually some exercises at the end that we'll do. Okay, so this is exercise 1.4.4, meaning it's in section 1.4. And it says something about a survey that involved between 500 to 2,000 people. And she based her conclusion on a relatively large sample of 4,500 replies that she received after mailing out 100,000 questionnaires to various women's groups. And then it asks, are these conclusions likely to be valid? In the sense that they can be applied to the general population of all women. Okay, so this is a voluntary response sample. And we know that the conclusions aren't likely to be valid because of that. Only people that feel strongly about the issue are likely to respond. Likely to respond. So the results are not going to be representative of the larger population of all women. Okay, so that's typical of a voluntary response. Usually the results aren't believable because you can't apply them to the general population. They don't represent the general population. Okay, so now let's go back to changing percents into proportions. And we just want to do a few of these just so you get the idea. Okay, so we want to convert 5/8 to an equivalent percentage. And so what I want to do, I want to make 5/8 into a fraction or a proportion. And that's going to be 0.625. And so the answer is 62.5%. To convert 23.4% into a decimal, I just moved the decimal over 2 spots. So 0.234. 37% of 500, I would just take 500 times 0.37, and that gives me 185. And then 0.127, that's pretty easy. I just moved the decimal over 2 spots, so 12.7%. Okay, then a couple word problems to finish off this section. In a Gallup poll, 49% of the 734 survey internet users said they shop on the internet. What is the actual number of internet users who said that they shop on the internet frequently or occasionally? Okay, so we just want to figure out 49% of 734. So I take 734 times 0.49. And that's 359.66. So we'll just round up to 360 because they have to be whole people, so we can't have a fraction there. Okay, and the last one, out of 734 internet users, 323 said that they make travel plans on the internet. What is the percentage of respondents who said that they make travel plans on the internet? And so we would just figure out the proportion of people and then change that into a percent. So we have 323 divided by 734, and that's going to be equal to 0.44. And so if we change that into a percent, then that's going to be 44%. 44%. All right, so that's it for the first section. You'll be asked a few questions to make sure that you answered or watched the video, and then the next video will be section 1.5.